All right, y'all, welcome to the Scott Horton Show. I'm the director of the Libertarian Institute, editorial director of AntiWar.com, author of the book Fool's Errand, Time to End the War in Afghanistan, and the brand new Enough Already, Time to End the War on Terrorism. And I've recorded more than 5,500 interviews since 2003, almost all on foreign policy, and all available for you at scotthorton.org. You can sign up for the podcast feed there, and the full interview archive is also available at youtube.com/Scott Horton Show. All right, you guys, introducing Bjorn Handeen. He is a Republican Party official from Idaho doing some great anti-war stuff. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Oh, thank you. It's a great honor. I've been a listener for a long time.
Well, great. Happy to hear that. And I forget now, but the name's familiar from previous times. I'm not sure if we had emailed before or Facebook friends back in prehistory or whatever. But recently you come recommended to me from Dan McKnight from Bring Our Troops Home. Said, you got to talk to this guy. He's doing such great work with the Republican Party up there. So, and then the first thing he sent me was a screenshot of y'all's Yemen resolution, which, well, go ahead and tell the story of that. You did a Yemen resolution in Idaho?
Yeah, well, 5 years ago when that joint resolution came around the first time, we tried it at our local county, Kootenai County, third largest county in Idaho, centered in Coeur d'Alene. And it failed our county just barely, but it failed to pass in our county. And now 5 years later, our resolution calling for an end to the war in Yemen, it passed unanimously at the county level. And therefore, we had the opportunity to bring it to be discussed by the state party of Idaho. And it passed the rules committee, I'm sorry, the resolutions committee. But the meeting ended right before we were to vote on it as a whole body and have it be the official position of the state party. But I'm told in the summer we're going to be able to maneuver to get that heard first.
Mm-hmm. And now that wasn't a setup where like, oh, whoops, sorry, we ran out of time, but they just really ran out of time.
Yeah.
Not accidentally on purpose.
I would have had different priorities if I were in charge.
I see, but it wasn't. I understand what you mean. So, but still, I mean, that's pretty good and unanimous, to start there on the county level is great. And so you're going to have another crack at it in the summer, you say?
We'll have another crack at it in the summer. Hopefully it'll be a moot point and it will return to a constitutional foreign policy before then as a nation.
Yeah, good luck with that. But well, and now, the resolution in the Congress has been at least severely punted, so the timing may be right there. I mean, Bernie Sanders, when he backed down, said, well, we're going to work with the administration on this, but geez, if they don't come correct, within some kind of period of time, then we're going to try this again. So in other words, summer sounds maybe about right. That, and we'll see what happens with the war over there. I mean, there is essentially a pretty good ceasefire right now. The war is not all the way over and resolved, but and it could start back up again. I mean, there's a real danger that it could, get worse again. But
there's a larger picture too, right?
Yeah.
What's happening in Yemen is just one echo of the larger picture. In fact, when I was presenting the resolution and talking about how James Madison felt about questions of war and peace, members of the party were shouting out to me, well, what about Ukraine? What about this place, Syria? Right. So the appetite is actually there. And even in the establishment, Republican types, because we can pin this on Biden and Obama, they didn't oppose this at all.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, this is a huge shift in the culture, and we absolutely have to make the most of it. That, frankly, a lot of the people who, serve in the military in this country, it's basically a family thing. Their father and their grandfather
Mm.
did, and this is how they do it. And they're essentially conservative, patriotic folk, Constitution bound. And so you get so many of them killed for nothing. Their brothers and fathers back home now. I mean, surely no better thinking back on Iraq and Afghanistan now. Um, so for them to be essentially like arms crossed, not impressed by all the new reasons why we need to be intervening here, there, or the other place is really the best thing going on right now.
That's the big
So,
difference. That's, you know, I started in politics, I guess, with Jesse and Ventura, but then Ron Paul, I really joined, you know, the actual Republican Party, and you know, we were viewed suspiciously, but everything's different now. Everything. Um, every one of your listeners can get involved somehow, some way, just like I did. You could say I started as a listener and then got involved in politics.
oh, that's interesting. That's cool, man. Um, all right. So tell me more about what's going on up there.
Well, you know that's the big push right now, right? You know, when we failed 5 years ago to get this resolution passed, the interesting thing is that you know we uh, got in contact with then Representative Raul Labrador, and he actually did co-sponsor. So it was kind of a we lost the county, but we won the big prize of getting our representative to sign on. And this time it's the opposite. Um, they say our representative Russ Fulcher is a good guy, and in many ways he is, but the most important thing going on in the world is matters of war and peace, and he hasn't signed on. And yeah, we've got to figure out a way to get our guys up to that level of elected office.
Yeah. There's a guy that, has emailed me and mailed me from time to time. He's got the silver bullet plan, which I agree with. If you're listening out there, Houston guy, I agree with you that wouldn't it be perfect if we could get every city council to pass a thing saying they hate this, every county board to say that our people don't want to do this anymore, where, and it makes sense that that's where people can get things done to start, as you're saying, um, on
Any
the
kind of
local
meeting
level
at
and
all,
bring it up, yeah. Um,
any kind of public forum.
but the question is you know how it is they're only few, but they're highly organized and highly funded, and we're the masses, but we can never get our act together, right? So, but the question is, if you could just get a critical mass of people, concerned about the same issue at the same time, then eventually, the market would take care of it, so to speak, right? Enough people would be pushing this on the county level, on the city council level, in the Republican Party, in the Democratic Party, and all over the place in all 50 states, and doing everything they can, one way or the other, in ways that we haven't thought of, to try to figure out how to get it through. It's a matter of really prioritizing. And this is something that's been a real frustration, right? Is that, as I was just talking about this with Hunter Durensis, that for well over a decade, the polls say that the soldiers don't believe in the war. This is going back to late Bush, early Obama times. People were over it. Hell, even in
Absolutely.
2005, the soldiers said they wanted to come home from Iraq, 2 years into the thing. And
Sure. Well,
fuck.
gosh, they can beat us in any kind of strategy that money can buy, but they can't beat us in the strategies that money cannot buy. And that is boots on the ground organization that's showing up in person to meetings. And also that's really studying the issues. I've noticed Jim Risch, when you get our senator, and he's the ranking senator in the Foreign Relations Committee, right? He's got no foreign policy background at all. He was a Boise district attorney, and then just kept rising up through the ranks. Do you think he really had time to sort through the issues and read Gareth Porter and Chalmers Johnson. No, he doesn't really know anything about foreign policy, but yet there he is, one of the most powerful people in America when it comes to matters of war and peace. We can run circles around him. I remember they quoted me in the paper a couple years back saying, no, if you don't read AntiWar.com, you don't qualify as having any foreign policy expertise at all. And so each one of your readers or your listeners are way more qualified to have an opinion on foreign policy than most of these politicians who just get where they are through money.
Yeah. Hey, that's what Chalmers Johnson himself said, that when I read antiwar.com every morning, that, believe me, that is better than the CIA morning brief. And I know because I used to write those.
Nice. What a guy.
Yeah, he was something else. And
I gave his books away at my wedding.
Oh, yeah.
2007.
That's great. Yeah, someone was just saying, what should I read to get like a good big picture on here? Sorrows of Empire, man. Nemesis.
Yeah.
For sure. Good old Chalmers Johnson, man. Boy, you do go way back. That's great. Yeah, man. So the cultural shift and making the most of it, I guess, tell me what you see among the people there. Like, are you pushing on an open door? People are already, ready to hear this?
On an open door. I can't tell you what a shift it was from only 5 years ago. And even 5 years ago, things were changing, right? Ron Paulers weren't anathema, but still, the rank and file Republicans were not ready for good foreign policy. Now they get it, right? Things are changing. The only people that don't really get it are the people at the top. But we're running up that hill.
Yeah, that's really great. So now, are you going to run for office yourself?
Oh, I don't know. A lot of times actual office holders need to be so self-assured that even when they're wrong, they don't act like it. I just, I'm like a normal person where I get nervous under scrutiny and I'm too normal of a person to actually inspire confidence in people I don't know.
Well, you know what? I bet that's not true, but I understand exactly how you feel, though.
One time when you were interviewing, not Gareth Porter, the nuclear physicist with the G name.
Oh, Gordon Prather.
Gordon Prather, yeah. You said, that he's a nuclear physicist, but you can memorize the numbers just as well and spit them back out. And that's kind of me. Is I can remember a lot of what I hear, and that's really important to help spread the word. But yeah, I'm more of a word spreader, not a politician.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? That's okay too, man. Same here.
We all have our roles.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, and it's important that they get the idea that it's not just other people on their same level, but out there in the town, out there in the countryside, in their state, this is how the people feel about it.
Absolutely. Now, Dan McKnight, keep working on him because he should be U.S. Senator from Idaho as soon as we can manage it.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine?
Oh, yes, I can.
Well, and that's really the only thing I know about Jim Risch. I don't watch TV anymore, man. I just don't have the stomach for it. So I'm not as good on the Congress as I used to be. But this guy, Risch, the only thing really I know about him is that when he was the governor, Dan McKnight called him on a satellite phone from the top of a mountain in Afghanistan and said, listen, the regular army won't share, and we don't have the equipment we need. We're out here in combat, and we don't have what we need to fight. And the way I remember it, I think the governor came through for him and got on the phone to Congress and then, but that was the last time that he was good on anything, as I think the way Dan described it.
Now he's U.S. Senator, and he was just on the list to go to Davos and or Davos, and then when people got upset about that, he pulled his name off. But he still represents that civilization more than more than our traditional America non-interventionism.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think Dan
he's
said that.
pushing on. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just to say, I think Dan said when he went to the Senate, the first thing he did was vote to fund the Afghan war and go along with all that stuff, you know?
Oh man.
It's such an easy thing to be heroic on, but it'll cost you in terms of money. But I don't know. Seems like, well, pay off in votes, then it's a balance. I mean, obviously, you need money to buy up TV time and all of that stuff too, but maybe have some money, but also inspire people to actually like you for doing the right thing for them one time. You know, I don't know. That doesn't ever seem
Right.
to play into their calculation. Seems like now it always comes down to the money for the TV ads rather than having a reputation of actually giving a damn about anyone or doing anything right, you know?
As I've been reading a lot of old newspaper articles about politics uh, uh, on newspapers.com. It's really helpful. And this was a huge debate. And when there were actual non-interventionists in Congress, when they were in power, right, the Bricker Amendment, John Bricker
Mm-hmm.
and Robert Taft, and even before. The thing is, those guys had they were able to go around the money system because the primaries were a convention system, not just a direct primary. And it sounds bad. It sounds like the people won't get a chance to vote, but sometimes mass media works, right? Mass commercials work, and therefore whoever has the most money for mass marketing can get their guy elected. We had more John Brickers and Robert Tafts when the primary system was held at a convention where the people who were interested enough to show up were the ones that helped decide who the nominee was going to be.
Yeah. Hang on just 1 second. Hey, y'all, the audiobook of my book, Enough Already, Time to End the War on Terrorism, is finally done. Yes, of course, read by me. It's available at Audible, Amazon, Apple Books, and soon on Google Play and whatever other options there are out there. It's my history of America's war on terrorism from 1979 through today. Give it a listen and see if you agree. It's time to just come home. Enough already. Time to End the War on Terrorism. The audiobook. Hey guys, I've had a lot of great webmasters over the years, but the team at expanddesigns.com have by far been the most competent and reliable. Harley Abbott and his team have made great sites for the show and the Institute, and they keep them running well, suggesting and making improvements all along. Make a deal with expanddesigns.com for your new business or news site. They will take care of you. Use the promo code SCOTT and save $500. That's expanddesigns.com. Man, I wish I was in school so I could drop out and sign up for Tom Woods' Liberty Classroom instead. Tom has done such a great job on putting together a classical curriculum for everyone from junior high schoolers on up through the postgraduate level. And it's all very reasonably priced. Just make sure you click through from the link in the right margin at scotthorton.org. Tom Woods' Liberty Classroom. Real history, real economics, real education. It's really ironic, right? Because it seems like it's the other way around. Oh, no, that's just made it where it's all smoky rooms, deals in the background and all of that. And if you have this primary, it grants access to all these people who otherwise wouldn't be able to participate. And it's more democratic that way when really, nah, it just because the hand of the will of the few determines the will of the masses of barely interested people. Right.
Right. You can think of it like a union, right? A party is like a union that can counteract, the organization can counteract the money of the top few that would otherwise just reach everybody through their monopoly of media control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
That's why
not to
Idaho,
be like too much of a commie simp, but I understand the metaphor.
Yeah. Well, Idaho, incidentally, does have a really good tradition of non-interventionism, as I've been learning. And so it is natural that some of these things get more play here in Idaho.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, I don't know if your listeners know too much about the Bricker Amendment. That was like the high watermark of kind of maybe Pat Buchanan style paleoconservatism in the Republican Party. In 1956, a senator named John Bricker from Ohio had a constitutional amendment um, uh, that would have made it illegal for any president to sign a treaty that abridges the constitutional rights of any American. Right, it would have been illegal, and sounds like a good idea. It lost by one vote in the Senate, and both of our senators in Idaho voted for it. Most of the conservative Republicans voted for it. And after it lost in '56, it got reintroduced again and again and again and again until it just kind of got fewer and fewer and fewer votes. And the last time it was introduced was 1999 by Representative Helen Chenoweth of Idaho. The last 2 decades, in the '80s and the '90s, yeah, it was the Idaho people, Idaho Senator Steve Sims and Helen Chenoweth that would periodically reintroduce it. Kind of fascinating, really, but sad also that it just kind of dwindled into nothingness.
Yeah. Well, people want to learn more about that. There's a great article at AntiWar.com by Joe Stromberg from April 19th, 2003. Truman Treaties and the Bricker Amendment. Historical Revision Outflanked. It's really good stuff.
I remember reading that, actually. I think that's what turned me on to the Bricker Amendment. I'm telling you that I started as just not involved in politics. I started consuming AntiWar.com, and now I'm one of 7 region executives on the Idaho Republican Party.
That's great.
You too.
Seems like you should be writing for us by now.
Well, yeah,
if you're all familiar with this Stromberg, going back, to the old days, The Old Cause is the title of his old column for us.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I haven't been around long enough to have listened to your Philip Drew stuff, but I'll retroactively start consuming that.
Yeah, there you go. Stay up all night, man. Play that. Get one of them players. You can play it at a time and a half. And I'm sorry because I had originally saved all those in like way too high quality for the disk space back then. And I had a guy who hosted my server space who was like, "This is ridiculous." And then he went and reduced them all to 8K. And so they're just, the audio quality on a lot of them is just terrible, Like maybe someday there'll be a bot that can upsample them somehow and make the audio sound better, but
we could upload them all into AI, and then we can make AI Scott Horton interview people in history.
Yeah, somehow like remaster them, you know what I mean, and make them sound high quality audio, because a lot of the audio on those older ones are really bad. Because I recorded them on, I had a little mini disc recorder plugged into my cell phone, on Chaos Radio in the garage there. That's where a lot of those were done. So I wonder whatever happened.
Man.
Anyway.
Yeah. You definitely were great at improvisation, technological improvisation. I remember you got to host the Phoenix Morning Show, and but your computer collapsed, so but you had all these great guests lined up, and you figured out a fix around it. It was awesome. That was an awesome day.
I remember that. Boy, yeah, you've been listening a long time. So as long as we're reminiscing, yeah, what happened there was Jack Blood had a Comrex, radio thing, so you can do high quality radio basically over like a DSL line, but custom made for radio transmission to get to host Charles Goyette's show. And
That's right, Charles Goyette. Yeah.
Yeah, they had done it. They had practiced it, and it worked. They connected, no problem. And then that morning, for some reason, it just his Comrex and theirs just would not talk to each other at all. So I hosted the show on a cordless phone, not even a cell phone, which was bad enough, but like on a cordless phone. Talk about 8K. That's probably 6 or something.
Right.
And somehow made that work. That was a nightmare, man.
Yep. Scott Orton's on. Is reaching too many people. Cut him off.
Those were the days. And yeah, it was all about Iran. And yeah, I had like 6 guests lined up. I was going to hit all these different aspects
Yeah, it
of
was
the
like the
Iran
all-star
thing in
team.
1 hour or something.
You had the all-star team all ready to go.
That's so funny, man. I've forgotten about that. Yeah, it's nice talking to you, dude. So,
Oh man,
yeah.
I remember your IRC channel. Is that still up and running?
I don't think so. Sneaker, is that still a thing? He would know. If Sneaker's out there, he knows. All right, let me ask you a question about business here.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. But tell us about what are you guys doing on Defend the Guard?
That's that is Dan McKnight's Boise thing. So up in North Idaho, we haven't really connected as we should have, right? I know Dan's got some state representatives that are really interested in it, and man alive, Dan McKnight, he has reached some people that we would not have found through normal kind of political activism channels. And so he's getting these young vets that are hard workers, smart guys, and those guys are going to change things. So it's like maybe I should have been making sure Defend the Guard was brought up again. That passed. Every time Dan McKnight brings it up at the state party, it's really well received. But then it kind of dead ends, right? The actual political leaders, they don't really have to listen to the people within the Republican Party. As far as that kind of concept of the party as a union goes, there's a disconnect now between what we're organizing for and what the leaders that are elected will actually accomplish.
Yeah. This is something that came up a lot during the Yemen thing. And, when, of course, Joe Biden came to the Hill and cost Bernie Sanders, his margin, 20, 30 votes, whatever. Sanders didn't even hold a vote. And everybody blamed Sanders, which it was his, he could have at least held a vote and let everybody debate it and give their speeches and stuff instead of just folding before the night even got kicked off. That sucked. But it was really Joe Biden who killed it. But anyway, the point is that people were saying, that it's just damn foolery to even try. That, you believe in democracy, you think that it's going to work, that they care about us, that they're going to do what we say, and that whatever way, the presumption is you'd have to be a child to really believe that the people can have their say on anything ever, or that it's even worth a try. When my whole thing is, I want to abolish the state because I believe in that stuff the least, but I'm still saying that that's what we got, and they're the ones doing the killing of those people. And if you know anything about this war, then you know that anything that we can do to try to stop it is worth a try. And that's, as far as it goes. But I think on the state level, as we were talking about before with the primary versus the caucus system type of a thing, on the state level, there is a point, especially in a state like Idaho, where, it's not that populous of a place, where if there's enough people who really come together and really are consistent and stay at it, that they can rise up through the ranks, they can become that party leadership eventually, and they can have their way if there's enough of them to, and they're willing to keep their eye on the ball. And, I forgot what state it was. Man, I'm sorry. I just saw the thing. Was it somewhere out west? I don't think so. Maybe it was Idaho. I don't know. But anyway, somebody had a state where the governor tried to pass, or the Congress and the governor signed some gun control law. And then 30 out of 50 county sheriffs said, well, we're not going to enforce that. Screw you. On a new gun control law. I mean, that's huge. And that's
Yeah,
because, at least on that one issue, those sheriffs got their heads screwed on straight and are willing to stand up and do the right thing. Um, so it goes to show, like, some of them still are human in some ways, despite being government employees. Like if enough actual people, will stay committed to at least supporting the least worst of them on, with real demands, with real ransom demands. Like, we insist that you support these most important things. And if you do, you'll get our votes. But if you don't, you won't. And this is the benchmark. This is the thing that we care about the most, is this anti-war stuff, or whatever the issue is, guns, whatever it is,
absolutely.
So it's not sucker's play. It's not a matter of like, now we're all in fourth grade and we all are supposed to just believe that George Washington admitted that he chopped down the cherry tree and democracy is this beautiful, wonderful, automatic thing. And all you got to do is just vote and everything will turn out your way someday, and whatever kind of thing. Like, nobody believes in that. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of fighting against what is wrong as best as we can. That's it,
If you get involved, you start going to the breakfast meetings and the luncheons, and you will get access to these elected officials. I see Risch, I don't know, maybe once a year at some event somewhere, and I'm always able to give him a hard time about stuff. There was a breakfast meeting, this would have been maybe 5 years ago, where he was talking about how horrible some of the videos were relating to the POW treatment over in Iraq or somewhere, and how we can't let that out. So I said, well, what about droning weddings? You said that you're not you're saying that's the use of drones is great. And he said, "Oh, I didn't say it was great. It's really bad for the dronees." But we made this horrible dumb joke, but like I forced him to at least acknowledge the contradictions in his logic. So we all can get involved and have access to these politicians.
Yep. And, as Bill Hicks said, you try. You do what you can.
Yeah.
So that's what we got to do. He was talking about convincing people to kill themselves.
Yeah.
But, just different strokes, different folks.
All right. That's Texas.
Yeah. All right. Listen, thanks for coming on my show. This has been great.
Oh, man. I could talk about Scott Horton interviews from the past all day long.
Yeah, I should interview you about shows I've done. No, this is cool, Bjorn. I appreciate all your efforts up there. And listen, if you have any trouble getting a hold of Dan McKnight, well, I can take care of that easy, because, the interview before you was Hunter Durensis, who works for both me and for Dan. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we'll get this worked right out.
Awesome group of people. Thanks for what you do.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for doing the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The Scott Horton Show, Anti-War Radio, can be heard on KPFK 90.7 FM in LA, APSradio.com, antiwar.com, scotthorton.org, and libertarianinstitute.org.